Recently, I watched a film called VFW by a director named Joe Begos, and I really enjoyed it a lot. That was the first experience of one of his films that I got to have, and I've always known about this one, which came out prior to VFW, sorry. And this one is called Bliss. This stars Dora Madison in the leading role, who's phenomenal, by the way. And I kind of heard the synopsis already, so I knew a little bit what I was getting into. It's a very kind of drug-induced, euphoric, kind of grungy, gothic story of a painter, and kind of rough around the edges. Definitely did really, really well among like the festival circuit kind of thing. And Joe Begos has always been kind of a name to look for, especially with VFW and this one. Those are his two big films. So being that I loved VFW, I had to check this one out at some point. It was on my list for a bit, and yeah, I got to check it out, and I'm here to talk about it. I really loved it. So Bliss tells a story of a girl named Des, and she's basically having a hard time. She's an artist, and she's basically like every struggling artist trying to get her painting into a gallery and getting support, trying to pay her rent on time, whatnot. Into the party scene. She's a very heavy party girl, and she's likes to experiment in different types of drugs. So one day she tries one, and something happens to her where she kind of starts to feel different and have these artistic drives that she hasn't had before, and it kind of has her life spiraling out of control. Now, this is obviously a spoiler review, so I'm going to get into a lot of it. The film starts off, funny enough, with an epilepsy warning because of the flashes, and then it goes right into the credits, which it's like, wow, I know exactly what you're talking about. Holy damn. It is wild. I mean, blues and reds just going straight at you. The music is great. There's a lot of like metal and stuff like that. So yeah, it starts with that. Not too sure what kind of era this film takes place as well, because it kind of feels like it could take place probably maybe in the 90s, but it feels more like early to mid 2000s kind of thing. When it comes to the styles, especially, and like the esque of it all, it definitely feels very early 2000s, I would say. It takes place in LA, which it definitely gives that vibe as well. You get a very grungy vibe of the LA scenery and buildings, and I like it's got a lot of darks in the film, but I like the sunset vibes and the views that, like, the cinematography is really well done when it comes to visualizing the city. So I really like that as well. But yeah, so it's this party girl. She's at a party. She's living the high life. She's doing a bunch of drugs with, you meet her friend Courtney closer to the beginning of the film. She has another friend, I forget his name, but he's kind of her dealer, and he's giving her all these wild drugs like I don't know, black dynamite and Diablo and stuff like that. And he gives her one, and she trips out pretty hard against his warning. But yeah, and then it turns out into this. I actually like the sex in this movie a lot. There's some pretty hot sex scenes, and my gosh, Des played by oh my gosh, what's her name? I'm so bad with names. Dora Madison. Dora Madison is sexy. She has this like exotic kind of mixed ethnicity kind of look to her. She has this frizzy hair too. Really good stuff. Really nice to look at. But yeah, so then after she gets home and after doing this drug, she gets this wave of inspiration to do this painting, which her manager Nikki, or her I don't know what you would call it, her boss, you could say, is kind of waiting for, because she gave her a $10,000 advance on it to have it done on time or whatever. And she's finally having this inspiration to do this painting, and she goes wild with it. It kind of reminds me of the film The Devil's Candy, where the guy is a painter and he's having painter's block, and he feels like he becomes possessed with this spirit that kind of makes him, you know, paint this painting that he kind of blacks out and doesn't even remember doing. So she kind of goes through that, and this painting is really dark looking. She's painting this starts off as this like kind of lake of fire, kind of like hell, where it seems like these demons are kind of climbing up, kind of climbing on top of each other, sort of like a mountain. And that's how she starts with the painting. And like I said, she doesn't quite remember going through with it, but it's coming along so well, and she develops this obsession for it. And the film starts going kind of that way. There's a bar scene that's pretty funny. This fanboy comes up to Des, and he's like, "Oh my god, I totally got your like first edition of some painting or something like that." And he's totally acting like somebody who met the famous director for the first time and just being absolutely ridiculous about it. I kind of laughed at that. She's at a club with her friend Courtney, and Courtney wants to introduce Des to this. I think it's another dealer named Dante, and she's absolutely obliterated from this new drug that she just took, and she's going wild. She basically can't control herself. She's already at the point of puking blood, and then there's this bathroom scene at the club, which totally brings the film into a 180. So Courtney comes into the bathroom, and it turns out that there's this other woman there in the mirror, and Des is tripping out and throwing up on the toilet, and Courtney bites the neck of this woman. So it totally turns the film around, and it turns into this vampire kind of thing. And then Courtney goes over and kisses Des, and then Des just completely gets into this euphoric high that she's never experienced before. And this is where she starts having blackouts and a lot of hallucinations, and her drive to this painting just becomes that much stronger. This film is absolutely packed with good special effects. I like this one better than VFW. It seemed like a bigger film. I wonder which one took the higher budget and was harder to make, because this one definitely seems bigger. VFW seemed a lot more contained, but this film definitely was much more whole, I would say, like more widespread with its themes especially, and its visuals. Its visuals are beautiful. The music just complements everything perfectly. Now, I've never seen the film Lost Boys, but I am going to take a bet from images that I've seen of Lost Boys that this film was definitely inspired by it, because there's a lot of sunglass wearing, there's a lot of like dark, grimy, smoky bars, and like just a lot of vampire-esque. It doesn't look like it would be a vampire film, and I actually wasn't expecting it to go into like that vampire route, but I really enjoyed it. It took me completely by surprise, and it really complemented the other themes of obsession and hallucination and drug addiction slash abuse that the film is going for as well. So I really did enjoy that. There's a landlord kill that's really gnarly. The landlord basically comes into her apartment, and she gouges his eye out and then starts sucking the blood from the the hole in his face, in his eye. It's pretty nasty. And then yeah, it's a whole film that spirals out of control. You learn closer to the end of the film, when she tries to attempt suicide by shooting herself in the head, that she is actually in fact immortal, because when she does so, her head basically heals itself back, and she is back again. And her friend Courtney comes over and describes that basically it's vampire-esque. The only way to end it is to be stabbed in the heart with a stake, and there's not the whole sunlight kills thing though. They don't really touch on that, but there is some. There's enough vampire-esque to know what's going on, and I like that. They do it subtly enough where it's cool. It's not the theme of the film. It's just kind of like an addition to the film. And I thought it was really well paced. I thought it was extremely well acted. And I thought the whole idea of the painting was really creepy. It really got under your skin. And the way the painting finished once it was done, like I said, with all the demons crawling up, it basically formed the shape of a woman in a gown, where the demons crawling up her was like she was basically wearing a gown made of demons. It was really, really creepy. And it kind of ended too where everybody she murdered throughout the film during her like drug-induced vampirism was crawling up her as well, and that kind of really reminded me of the film Maniac from 1980, as well as the remake, obviously, where all the the victims at the end come to seek revenge on the main killer. But yeah, it was loads of fun. I love this film. It would get a 4.5 out of 5 for me. And it's got so much rewatch value that it's amazing. It's a bloodbath. It's gory as all hell. It's not for everybody, but if you are a gore hound and if you are into horror films and the horror community, you're gonna like this one. This is definitely one to check out, as well as VFW. As I said, VFW is a more contained version of what this is kind of going for. Now, obviously, there's not the whole heist thing going on with like there was in VFW, but this is a wild film that is designed very well and looks very nice. And it's cool. It's just a cool ass film. Like I had a really, it's like your basic trip out film where somebody dives so deep into drugs that they start to hallucinate and lose touch with reality, but in such a bigger like neon roller coaster ride type of way with some like kind of monster vampire touch to it. It's really cool. It has to be experienced kind of thing. So I recommend Bliss highly. Joe Begos is definitely a name to look for and check out, and hopefully we see something from Joe in the near future for sure. Pretty much that's all I got from my notes. It was a good film. So, released in 2019. We got some commentaries in here too that I'll be listening to another time, next time I watch. And that's all I got. So until next time, I am Morgan Film Fan. Subscribe if you like to listen to my voice or if you like to listen to my reviews. And that's all I got. I will be back next time. Until then, cheers.